Okay, well, this story has kind of popped up in a couple of different places now, and that said, Brock Bowers is not going to be taking any payments from Georgia's collective, and it's kind of a curious, it's a curious decision. I don't think it's one that is shocking, not necessarily to me, understanding a little bit of the situation. Brock Bowers has significant deals in place already with like Dick's Sporting Goods and Zaxby's and so forth. There's two guys on the team from the 22 team that really did do pretty well in the NIL, in the modern NIL world, and one of them was Brock Bowers, the other being Stetson Bennett. Obviously, Stetson moving on to the NFL. So, what there's a lot of explaining here, but I think that it does make Brock look good, no doubt about it. It also, though, um, I don't know what his financial situation is or may be or whatever. The collectives are different at different places, and the maturity of different schools' collectives are in different places as well. And it may be as simple as, Brock Bowers doesn't need X amount of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars more to play at Georgia. I think that is certainly a very big possibility here, and it pushes the money around a little bit more. Now, listen, if the folks at Classic City, I'm sure y'all watch this stuff, or at least it gets to you. If y'all want to give me a call or text me or whatever, email me, you can correct me on this stuff. I have no issue with that at all. If Brock is taking the money that you're aware of, that's fine too. Let me know. But there's multiple reports that that's not the case. It just opens up uh, more money for the other guys. Now, listen, it's, essentially 1/85th of what's happening here, or even more than that. So that's one way to look at it. Then again, Brock's situation, he's not like all of the other 84 guys on scholarship or the 500 something scholarship athletes at Georgia. I mean, Brock Bowers is one of the most well-known people returning in college football. I mean, I think you've got Caleb Williams at SC. Brock Bowers is up there for sure. I mean, people are going to get starting to get triggered by some of the people. I'll say Spencer Rattler is a name because of a quarterback. Uh, so there are guys who are back, and when you're a quarterback, that really moves the needle for sure. But I don't really. I mean, Brock has done autograph signings and still does autograph signings. He's got the agreements with these other folks. I mean, I'm not going to discuss all of the back end stuff, but Stetson Bennett did very, very well in his final year of college football because of NIL. JT Daniels did very, very well. Bryce Young. I mean, a lot of these guys are quarterbacks, but there's not a situation like Brock Bowers out there. I mean, he very well could be the most gifted player in college football. He just plays tight end. Now, the difference between him and a lot of these other guys, though, is unlike, like Jalen Carter, for instance, Jalen's situation is going to be maximized the most when he signs with an NFL team because he doesn't have the ball in his hands. And, you can't, quote, get the ball to Jalen Carter, right? Brian Bowers, you can get the ball to. And, Todd Monken and company did that a lot. Hey, I write about that quite a bit in Double Dogs. There are times when Brock Bowers absolutely exploded on people. The certainly the Kent State game, you think about the Oregon game, the national championship game. These are all games that we talk about in here. Some behind the scenes stuff that you're not going to read anybody else anywhere else because, well, people didn't do the reporting the way that I did. So make sure you're picking it up today. The link is down below. Thanks to everybody who's gotten it. We're gonna get these out in late February and early March. That's another reason to order is because, I want y'all to get these as soon as possible. And the later you order, the longer it's going to take to get to you, just because of it's just there's a lot going on. And by the way, it's printed in Georgia, so keep that in mind. It's printed in Marietta, so that's pretty awesome. But I think for Brock, um, I mean, the simple reality is he doesn't need a deal with Georgia's, collective arm. He just doesn't. And so he's not doing it. So it does sort of make Brock look good in a way. But he's doing it too. I mean, it's not like he's. I mean, he is just as entitled as everybody else to getting money from a collective that's set up to pay players. Why would he not be entitled to that money? So I think it makes him look. It certainly makes him look good, but and I don't know either what his family situation is. I mean, someone's growing up in Napa. You immediately, I mean, that's not like growing up in Tucker where I did. Okay, that's a little bit higher dollar area of the world. So we don't know, but I do think it makes them look good for sure. It spreads the money around a little bit to other players, but NIL has not changed because of what Brock Bowers' decision is. I mean, Brock is benefiting from his work and his skill level, and that's the case because of the Supreme Court's ruling a while ago. We're still talking about, you know, straight up capitalism, paying the most amount of money for maximizing your value, whatever that may be, and he's doing that. And I don't fault him in any way for that. I think it's great. Um, but don't I mean, there's no way, and the folk again. I'm not being a smartass here. 'Cause the guys at Classic City, don't DM me. That you're gonna get lost in my DMs. But I mean, I cannot tell people how many DMs that we get at Dog Post. Email me. Um, no one's if you want to talk, I don't it doesn't really matter to me. No, the game hasn't changed. I mean, Brock Bowers, there is value with being associated with Brock Bowers that enter the name of any company gets. And that he's turned down that money doesn't mean he's not maximizing his money elsewhere. I would not at all be shocked if Brock Bowers was pulling in seven figures. I don't think that's surprise. That would not be surprising at all. I mean, just the fact that I've mentioned it on here. I mean, as little value as that is, but we have a substantial audience, no doubt about it. And he every time he's mentioned, you associate him with the other brand. I am not aware of this one brand that he's with. I'm not going to mention it because I don't know what in the world it is, but I'm sure he's not with some bizarre uh, outfit. I mean, he's got some pretty uh, name brands. Oh, okay, it's a okay. They would have zero interest in dog posts. We don't do strength and conditioning here anymore. That's for our 20s when we used to get up at 5:30 in the morning to sprint for Dan Schmatzer for basketball practice. Ugh. Anyway, I think it's a neat thing for Brock. It's neat that they get to spread everything around, but I don't. Nothing's really changed. Classic City Collective or whatever the name of the collective at Georgia will be in the future, that thing is there to provide a baseline, revenue for players who are not Brock Bowers, essentially for in the Dean Leggeys of the world, for those of us who were not superstars in college. That's what that's there for. They're saying, hey, listen, y'all are out working, etc. Um, we're going to compensate you for your work because, hey, listen, now, I mean, I can get on a rant real quick. There is no doubt about it. These guys and girls are working. It is work to be a college athlete, period. You do not get breaks. There's a 20-hour rule for football. That's for practice or for just say, let me do the math real quick. There for a long time, it may have changed slightly. There is a 20-hour rule. There's a limit to 20 hours on practice for years by the NCAA. That's just practice. That does not include travel for game days. All right. So let's just say you have 20 hours. And then if you are in a traditional semester system, you are doing a 15-hour semester. That means you should either be in class or studying 15 hours. That is a 35-hour week right there, if my DeKalb County Public Schools math is correct. That is a work week. That does not include travel for games. That does not include non-practice time, meetings, etc. That does not include all that sort of stuff. So to say, oh, it's a job, there is no question it's a job. The difference now is whether people like it or not, whether people like it or not, uh, it has been recognized that these athletes be paid for their name, image, and likeness, and they can't roll around in Georgia jerseys and do it necessarily. That's a whole nother thing. But we are watching the evolution of college sports. I will add too that, in my opinion, uh, I'm not sure college sports has ever been better. Frankly, you have a playoff in college football. You have college basketball, which has been very good, unless you like Duke or somebody lately, particularly in the Big 12, has been outstanding. Basketball, the SEC, the basketball is drastically better. The ACC's gotten worse. The Big East has gotten worse, but those other two conferences have gotten way, way better. Big Ten's always had great basketball. But I think college sports has been great. NIL is not going to change things in a way that people aren't going to watch. The transfer portal is not going to change things in a way that people won't watch. College sports have never been bigger. The question is, what will the next 5 years be? And I don't know the answer to that. It will change, but we've had change in college sports since the early 1980s. That's not new.